Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is David Novak. Last week I was all proud that I had read 4 books within a week, and this week I'll be lucky if I even finish a single book. I'm in the middle of this book and I've just slowed down, not because I'm busy, but just because I really don't want to make reading into some kind of a race. I recognize that to read more, I have to sort of leave off a book and then start a book and not have big gaps in there. But I do also like doing other things besides reading, most particularly imitating a cat and laying there doing nothing. Now today we just went to the charity bookshop. I have posted a couple of videos showing some of the books that I brought to them. It is impossible to go there and not come back with something. Now the bookshop has gotten more efficient. It used to be all the books came in and then they would put them out and they'd sit there. Now they have branch stores throughout the city, and so the books come in and immediately they sort them, and all of the books that are good go to these other stores. And so the receiving area, the big warehouse, tends not to have any good books. You can find one here and there, but it's not usually the case. So for example, different imprints like New York Review of Books or Library of America, those just about automatically go elsewhere. But you will find a hefty selection of the expected things. So let's see, let me start with this. I put a hold on this at the library recently because I was thinking about reading it. Actually on Facebook, somehow the topic of rereading came up, and I said I would consider rereading The Great Gatsby. I've never read anything else by this author. And a friend said, well, if it were me, I would reread Tender is the Night, because The Great Gatsby does not have a single decent or nice character. So I assume that this one does. And I put a hold on it at the library and just never managed to pick it up. And then while I was there, I said, well, I bet they've got a copy of it. And they did, so I went with it. This is the kind of thing that you will find there. Now, you won't find Jane Austen, I guess, because it carries too big of a price, and so they shuffle it out to one of their other stores. And I got 7 other books, so let me just go through them one by one. And the last one is a real surprise book. So this is the Age of the Bede. I don't know what to make of this. This volume contains Bede's Life of Cuthbert and Lives of the Abbots of Wearmouth and Yarrow, Edius's Life of Wilfrid, and The Voyage of St. Brendan. God knows it's not the kind of thing I would like to read. I one time a couple of years ago, passed up something written by the Bede, and I regretted it. And so I picked this up, even though it's likely I won't. Come on, guys. At least with a penguin, I will read the introduction almost inevitably, even if it's a book that I'm not particularly planning to read. I'll read the introduction when it's a penguin. And if I decide it's not for me, then it will just go back. Now here's one. Oliver Goldsmith. Now, this is a book that for me was a big DNF a few years back. I don't know what the edition is that I have it in, a mass market paperback of some sort. And he's a great poet. And I got a fair way through the book, maybe halfway, I don't remember now, and just thought, I'm just not interested in this. But I will replace my old copy for this, and I will read the introduction because I do want to read something about Goldsmith. You seldom get that opportunity. Great poets are always worth reading about, I think. Focus by Henry Miller. I've never read a novel by him. It's supposed to be his most controversial work, and it's only about 200 pages. So given that I'm on a big fiction kick right now, maybe it will be something good for me. Come on, kid. Hey, come on. And in spite of all my trash talking about Edith Wharton, I picked up this. Number one, it's very short. And a number of booktubers have been reading this recently. Shelley Swearingen and I think Britta recently read it. And misreads a lot. And one of the three said that it was extremely bleak. So I'm all for bleakness. It's fewer than 200 pages, and look at how big that is. So I may give Edith Wharton a second go. I think Britta said that it did not hit her the way either House of Mirth or Age of Innocence did. Now the next two are just really out there, just really bizarre stuff. Feedowski, The Legend of Seyavash. God knows what that is. But Penguin writes on the back that the Shahnameh of Feedowski, probably the longest poem ever written by a single man, is the national epic of Persia. Starting with the creation of the world, it covers the whole period up to the Arab Islamic conquest of the 7th century. And this apparently is a portion of that, an excerpt. So here again, I will read the introduction. It's quite likely I will not read this, although the Epic of Gilgamesh was the sort of thing that I thought I would never read, and then I read it and was very pleased. But here's another one. The letters by, I don't know how you say his name, Blaise Pascal, or is it Blaise Pascal? And at one point, from the same bookshop, I picked up a copy of his Pensées, which was in such bad shape, I just took it back. I don't know if that's how you say the work either. It being French, I suppose it should be something like Pensée or something like that. I don't know. But this is something that he wrote prior to that, and it also looks like something that I don't think I can stand, because it's talking about faith, letters about faith, but it doesn't hurt to glance at an introduction. And then the last book that I picked up, this is the really surprise one. I was checking out or paying, and I happened to go over, and there's a little section of books on display of recommendations by the staff, and this was there, and It's a book that seems to be popping up at least every other episode on Brian at Bookish's channel. He thinks very highly of this and speaks very highly of it. It is also a shorty. I think one of his 11 short books that you should read video, which was of recent vintage or mintage. And so I don't know, I'm almost afraid to read it because I may read it and decide I can't stand the thing. But it's short and I'm on a fiction kick, so we'll give it a shot. So these are what I replaced those 2 big boxes with. Thank you for stopping by my channel.